You know, I want to be completely transparent in this video because I spent years exerting enormous amounts of effort, militantly meditating, being diligent in my discipline. And you know what happened? I was always trying to overcome my humanity, trying to transcend my thoughts, to see beyond my emotions and the influence of all these. And I drove myself crazy, completely nuts. I was completely psychotic, to be honest. And when I go online, I see many people who I consider to be in a spiritual psychosis. Their whole narrative, their whole self-identity is so fixated and framed on this in fact very limited path of spirituality. And to be honest, there's very many traps and things to look out for on this path, and I'm not sure that you can ever be guaranteed to not end up in some of these. Because, you know, I was listening to all sorts of teachers and they were very honest, I would say, from my own experience, and I trust them fully. And I can in no way blame them for the teaching that they have delivered, because there is truth in all of what they've taught. But what we seldom realize is that there's levels of understanding. There's teachings corresponding to different levels of understanding that is applicable to where exactly you're at. And if you don't have this direct ability to communicate with someone who has already been in your shoes and learned from their mistakes, so to speak, and you may just end up in the clutches of these conceptual traps, these mental boxes, really, that, I mean, man, it can cause so much suffering and prolong your seeking unnecessarily for years, decades sometimes. I hear of people spending their entire life and yeah, it just saddens me because, you know, I've been there, and I'm in no way perfect. I'm not your guru. I'm no authority on this matter. I'm simply a guy who has ample life experience, 13 years delved into the spiritual journey. And I can tell you that it's only been for the past 2 years, that I have accepted and embraced the fact that in order to continue on this path, I need to allow more so these very human tendencies in which the mind, consisting of the thought patterns and the emotional arisings, the traumas that may still linger in my system, that they need compassionate tending to. They need the loving attention of my being. Because, you know, after over a decade of trying to push them away, rejecting them, opposing them, of trying to pull away from in an attempt to realize myself beyond the influence of these very arisings and tendencies, excuse me, after a decade of that, I was still in the same position. I was in the same disposition of still having these arisings. Sure, I may have been more insightful, have gathered more wisdom and understanding in myself. Sure, there's many of these tendencies and old patterns that have dropped away. They will, in response to realizing more of what you intrinsically are, these patterns will fall away in their own time. But you will never ever completely rid yourself of these human conditions. And if you put this condition on your liberation or on your freedom, that you need to be free from these very human arisings, then you're in for a big one. It's going to be a long journey ahead, my friend. And, I'm just here as a guy offering his experience, expertise, as far as that reaches. And that is why I launched my spiritual life coaching program in the description down below, because I'm here of service. I'm here to give what I've got, to offer the best to my ability, and to help anyone in need. Because quite likely, by way of you clicking on this video, there is something in life that has guided you here now. And so, whatever that force may be, that intelligence, I trust that. And for that reason, I think there is something here that may serve a very purpose for you. I don't know what takeaway you can gather from this video, maybe nothing at all. But I'm here to offer my experience. And so, if I can save you just a tiny bit of suffering in your life, my very core teaching or sharing from this video would be that it's okay to not be okay. You can be at peace with not being at peace. And that whether you feel sad, envious, you feel grief, you're riddled with anxiety, you feel depressed, maybe you're stressed out from life, things aren't going the way that you imagined they would, or that you hoped that they would. And this whole idea that you may have of who you think you are, that has these wants and desires, that is okay. That you see all of that and you give space for that to play out. That even the doubts can have space to play out. And so there is a perfection in the imperfection. And when we no longer insist that life take a certain form, or that our experience is configured to our utmost desires, however grandiose and beautiful they may be, when we can instead be with what is, instead of insisting on how we want life to be, then our experience no longer needs to cater to our contrived notions of how we want this moment to be. And there's a peace in that. It may not feel peaceful. In fact, it may be the most chaotic, most rambunctious moment of your life. The most chaotic, just storm-filled moment where you feel all these emotions, a total turmoil of thoughts haunting your mind. And you know what? There is still that knowingness, that space that knows that you're just perfectly fine, that you're okay no matter the circumstance, and that this too shall pass. And even if you don't see a way out, you don't need to pull back from your experience. No, you can actually move towards it. Because when these thoughts, these emotions, these old tendencies come knocking at your door, you don't slam it in their face, no. You open with embrace, compassionately towards yourself. No more self-terrorizing. No more beating yourself up. Because when you say no to life, whatever form or shape it takes, when you say no to these conditions, these thoughts, these emotions, when you say no to this experience that is here, that creates a feedback loop of even more suffering. That just spins your wheels, creates even more of that which you really don't want. So allow some space in you. Even if you feel completely contracted, you can trust in life to have your back. This is not about overcoming any parts of your humanity. If what you're here for is freedom, it is right here, my friend. It's right here in the midst of all this ongoing. It's my pleasure to be here to share. It is my utmost wish for you that you don't follow in my footsteps, but that you learn from my mistakes. I'm here to be of service. And if you feel called to work with me, check out the description. Until next video.